What's up, and welcome to the Greatest Teacher of All Time, where I, Quincy Dawson, interview teachers of color to highlight their philosophies, strategies, and personalities. Today, I've got Brezana. What's up, Miss Cross?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it.
Of course, anytime.
Yeah, one thing I didn't tell you before is that you were actually recommended by another teacher on Instagram. Right? Isn't that cool?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I put a little blast out a little while ago to get teacher recommendations for the greatest teacher of all time. And
Yes.
at Little People Big Class came up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Well, that's
congrats.
nice. Right.
Yeah, man,
Who would
congrats.
thought? Thank you.
So in getting into these questions stuff I got for you. So I'm a high school physics teacher, and I have like a high school mindset behind a lot of teaching philosophies and stuff. So I think it'd be cool to talk to an elementary school teacher to kind of get some perspective on that.
Okay, cool.
So starting off, let's get the regular things out the way. So how long you been teaching? What grades? Who do you like the most? Who's the worst?
I've been teaching for 6 years now. I've kind of transitioned into like this interventionist role where I work with kindergarten through second grade, but I'm also in the first grade classroom teaching math for half of the day. I've taught first grade before, I've taught second grade before. I think I like second graders better. I think I do because they're still immature, they're still very like sweet, they're innocent, they have great intentions, but they're a little bit more mature. They don't need as much attention as first graders. They're not as Miss Cross and patting on me all day long.
Ah, okay, I see you. Yeah. So with me, I've taught high school and middle school, and I think I like the high school students more just because of those same reasons you're saying. But also, I think I could do more with them in terms of like physics and the math background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you're preparing them for the next level now. So
Right. Instead of getting the foundational skills, right? It's a lot of pressure.
yeah.
Yeah. But wait, something I think I just learned. So you teach the math classes for the second grade students, or you
For first grade. I teach math for first grade. And then the other half of the day, I do interventions with our students who are in tier 3. So that just means that they've tried classroom interventions and now they need a little extra push outside of the classroom setting.
Interesting. So I guess they don't have the regular teacher teaching all subjects anymore.
They do. I just pull them out for a little bit extra.
Oh, okay, I get you. Okay. So
like a remediation teacher, yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I like that. It's cool. It's cool. So now let's get into some of these other questions I have. So I'm actually going to refer to a post from the Instagram page Fixing Education. And this post is titled 5 Big Mistakes That New Teachers Make, or 5 Big New Teacher Mistakes. Are you ready, Ms. Cross?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is you grade everything as a big teacher mistake. How do you feel about this one?
You don't grade everything at all. I think as a first year teacher, you feel like you have to grade everything just so you can have something in the grade book, but that's not it. You can assess everything, but you don't have to assess everything by collecting papers. You can circle around the classroom, look at students' work. You can take notes, just mental notes to know how you want to direct your instruction, whether you want to tailor it, whether you feel like it's successful or not. I think the biggest thing about knowing what to grade is just making sure that you prioritize the assignments that you give out. For example, some assignments, they really are just like a quick exit ticket. You just need to know whether the students can do it or not. But other assignments, you should make sure that it's completely standards-based, it's aligned to what the standards and the expectations for that grade level are, and go for it. And then you'll record that as a summative. But I typically usually grade things only after I've exposed my students to it like once or twice. So like that third round, then I take that for the actual grade. So it can be really reflective of what the student can do independently.
I get that.
If you try to grade everything, it's just like trying to wash dishes and you keep piling the sink up, you'll never get around to it.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. What about, so in high school, right? We, of course, exactly what you said, right? We're not exactly grading everything. Something is just like verbal or like spot check assessments.
Yes.
It might be more common in high school for like those students who just like need that grade. What did I get on this? What did I get on this? What's my score? What's my average, right? Do you get that from elementary students, or is it
You
from their
don't
parents?
necessarily get that from, well, it depends. Like in my classroom, because I'm so like, I try to be as data driven as possible. And I try
Right.
to have those conversations with my students, even though they're in first grade. I'm like, I want them to be aware of their progress, their grades, whether they're reaching a certain goal or whatever. But you get that the most from their parents.
Yeah,
Their
that's what
parents
I
are
was
like,
thinking.
how did my baby do on this test? They did a worksheet today. What was their grade? Are they doing good? Are they successful? Like, are they failing? What's going on? And especially with the culture of my school. And I love that because that means that parents care and they want to know. So, what do I do in those situations? I typically I communicate with the parents that everything is not for a grade and that numbers don't explain everything too. And I tell my kids that too. So like if I bring them back to my table, I'm like, okay, this is what we did today. I see that you were struggling with this. Come on, let's sit down and let's talk about it. Let's rework this problem.
How is the response from parents on things like that? So, and I'm saying that because I've taught in like strict
Yeah,
classical academies where like parents need to know the grades, but also like more liberal private schools where parents are just like more
like
whimsical with
here.
all of that. Right.
Um, I guess that kind of really goes back to like relationships that you build with parents. Like some parents trust me enough to know that when there is a red flag, I'm definitely going to reach out to them as soon as possible. And then just constant communication. So that's when I use like Class Dojo or Remind app, or I'm constantly like texting them or calling them so that, especially with the parents that I know who are like, they're very high strung and they need to know, I may communicate with them a little bit more frequently about what the grades are looking like, even if it's not a graded assignment. And then also I send home signed paper. So like every 2 weeks, some of the formative checks that I do, I send those home so the parents can look over and know what we're doing in class, know the mistakes their child is making. They sign off on it and they send it back.
Yeah. And I think that is way more valuable than B.
Just a
B
great,
plus.
exactly. Yep.
Right. Like this tells me nothing. What do you mean?
Tells me nothing. Yep.
Okay. And maybe staying on that one, but talking about the relationships you have with like your parents and your students also. This next one on here for big new teacher mistakes is that you want the students to like you. This shouldn't be your primary motive, rather a byproduct. What do you think about that, Ms. Cross?
I think that's absolutely true. When I used to hear from some veteran teachers that you do not supposed to smile at your students or show them any kind of affection until December. I
Yup, I heard.
disagree with that. You can show them love, you can show them affection, but you don't have to do things to make them like you. You don't have to give a child a sucker every day so that they can like you. If they're breaking down, having an entire emotional breakdown, you don't have to pacify them or baby them or lower your expectations to communicate to a child that you like them. Like kids, I think no matter what the age is, they need structure. They want structure. So if they see that you're providing them with structure and you're setting expectations high, you have routines in place. And also if they see that you honestly try to get to know them, like within the first 3 days, I make sure that I know every child in my class name. I
Three
don't want to
days?
stumble. Yes, I give myself 3 days. And like I've gotten to the point now where I know almost every child that's in my school building too, because I want all students to know, like, hey, I see you, I know you, I care about you. So I use times like recess and lunch for the students to know that I like them by getting to know them. Like I know how many siblings a child may have, or I know what their interests are. Those are ways to communicate to a child, like, I love you, and then they'll like you as a byproduct, not because I'm just nice to them, because I'm probably not the nicest teacher, but my kids know that I have their best interests at heart.
Yeah, Brezana, you're already fitting the check boxes for a greatest teacher of all time. But I want to talk about that. So with high school, right?
Ooh, I can
I
open
think
it.
I think it's a little more common to have a student who like doesn't like you, right?
I
Because you
agree.
still have those students who will just do their work, which is what they're, I guess, supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
But for elementary school students, I feel like you need every single student to like you.
You need them to like you, because if they don't like you, they're they may try to make your life a little bit more troublesome than what you want. And then also
Right.
if they
And
don't like you, they're not gonna learn from you.
right. And there's no like for high school, there's no like grown up filter where like even though I don't like you, I'm gonna still do my work, right? You get that with the
Exactly.
upper levels.
Yeah.
elementary school, how do you deal with that? A student who may not like you.
Whew, let's see. I'm trying to
Don't let it
think back.
happen.
I'm thinking back. A student that may not like, I think it may really irritate them, but I still like try to show them like the most affection and the love. Like, I think the best way to get a student to like you is to just like them or love them regardless of how mean they may be to you or how nasty they may treat you. It's like, okay, yeah, you just rolled your eyes at me, but guess what? I still love you. And after a while, I think that's going to penetrate them because they still are at that age where some students, they just need to hear that. And you never know what they may have going on at home. And they may just have like a wall built up because they may have been hurt before and they don't understand how to trust an adult to care for them in that way.
Yeah, I get it. It's killing them with kindness, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Especially when I get to fifth grade, because that's when you see that a little bit more. I'm like, you all are becoming like preteens. You're trying to do this little shift, but it's okay. I love you.
there it
I
is.
love you.
There
And
it
I'm
is.
not going to embarrass you, but I love you.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Miss Cross. All right, my next one I have on this list is number 3. You don't take care of yourself. What does that mean to you?
Whew, I've heard that before because I've heard someone say before in a professional development, they was like, when you enter into the school building as a teacher, whatever problems you have at home, you need to leave them at home. And that just seems so insensitive to teachers as humans. It's because we come with we bring different things to the table as well. So if I come to work and I may have had a bad night last night, of course, I'm going to leave it at home where I don't allow it to affect how I treat my students or whatever. But I can use that as a way to just have a talk with my students, especially like with elementary school, especially lower L, when you have that carpet time. I can just be transparent with my students because I want them to know that you should be transparent and that it's okay to take care of yourself and it's okay to be self-aware and to address your feelings when you come into a room. So that way you can know how to separate the two. So in that morning meeting, I might say, you know what, I had a bad morning this morning. My dog ran out the door and I had to chase her down the street. And I'm just tired and I'm frustrated and I don't know what to do. But it's okay because now I'm at school, I'm here with you all, and I'm gonna make a decision to put that behind me and focus on what I need to focus on. And so also it's important for us to take care of ourselves because if we don't, I mean, we can't pour from an empty cup. There's no way you can pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, well, so going back to what you were just saying about bringing your baggage to school and that you should leave it at home, right? That's a common thing to hear in schools, right? Why do you think that is? Why do they say that for teachers but not to like the Google engineer or something like that?
Because I think because we have this idea that teachers are like superhumans, honestly. And then because as a superhuman, you're not supposed to have any weaknesses. And so you should table your weaknesses because the greater good is your students. They don't see that there is strength in having a weaknesses or having some type of emotional or typical human problems.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Yeah. And that's so weird how that happened. Like, I don't know, did we do this to ourselves? Like, why is that?
I don't know, the pedestal that we've been placed on, it just seems so critical.
It's so weird. So weird.
Yeah.
But maybe going on with that too, how do you take care of yourself?
Well, it's always like this. I think, let's see, how do I take care of myself? That's kind of a crazy, it's not a crazy question. It just feels like, you know how they say growth is never linear, where it's like an upward trend, and it's always you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down.
Yeah.
So sometimes for me to take care of myself, unfortunately, I have to hit like a brick wall. But I really believe over the past 2 years, especially since COVID and the pandemic, I've been really prioritizing self-care more. And I've learned that self-care should be a holistic thing. So in the past, I've thought about self-care as simply just me going to the gym and working out. But I wasn't dealing with my emotions, or I wasn't going to church or feeding myself in a spiritual way or, an emotional way, and even professional too. Because if we don't take care of our professional selves by learning more to perfect our craft, then it's going to cause some type of imbalance within ourselves where we're not our best self.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. Yeah, it's everything you're putting in. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that going to church spiritually, because when I'm teaching, I feel like, the pastor at the end of his sermon, he's like up there, he's like going and going, going, and he needs like his deacons to come and like calm him down. I feel
Yeah.
like I need that sometimes.
Where I need
Like,
somebody to bring me a towel so I can just pat my forehead.
yeah, right. Or just like, yo, I'm up right now, teach about these laws of
Yeah.
motion. Bring me down, bring me down. It's that's so funny. But yeah, one of my ways of taking care of myself is just utilizing my breaks, right? In realizing the fact that I am professionally paid or employed to interact with your students, right? So
Yeah.
if I'm taking a break, I need to take a break from
Take
that,
a
right?
break.
Like,
Exactly. And society try to make us feel like we always have to be productive to have value. So that's why, like on my weekends, I rest. I try not to take paperwork home. I try not to grade papers. I try to leave school at school. That may be answering another question. I think it is.
nah, it's okay. Let's jump to it. Let's jump to it. So the next one on here is number 4. You work alone. 3 words. Ask for help.
Ask for help.
Tell me about it.
I think a lot of districts are trying to move to this thing where they have formal mentor programs and stuff like that. But even if your school does not have a formal mentorship program, I think it's important that everyone finds like an informal mentor or somebody else who has maybe even just a little bit more experience or a different type of experience that they can give us advice and feedback. That's one of the biggest ways for you to not work alone, because no man is an island. And I mean, research shows that teams are more productive than an individual person. And I think a big thing for me is that I know a lot of people are against having friends at work. They're like, we work at work, you have friends and all of that. But I feel like it's important to have friends at work because that goes back to I think one of my core values is that I really believe in relationships. And so by having a friend, a trusted person at work, like it makes everything so much better. Whether it's somebody that can help you put up your Canvas module, whether it's somebody that has an expertise in how to decorate bulletin boards, or somebody that just knows how to differentiate their instruction a little bit better than you, like you can benefit from anyone's feedback, and then you can use your own discernment to know whether or not it's useful for you and your students or whether it's not. But it's not going to hurt you to just get feedback from anybody who's willing to offer it.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because that's actually the reason why I started this greatest teacher of all time thing. I started at a new school during the pandemic, teaching from home. I had no way to like talk or interact with other teachers, right? I could like set up the Zoom call, send a Google Calendar invite and all that, but it would just be so tedious,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, so I thought of this idea where like, okay, I want to highlight these teachers for them to get their ideas out if they don't have someone to talk to, like a professional friend like that.
exactly.
Yeah, so cool. Again, thank you for being here. All right, the last one on this list, number 5, staying too late. Also see number 3, not taking care of yourself.
Right.
So what's up with that one?
Don't stay at work too late. I had to learn this the hard way by hitting one of my little brick walls, having a whole mental breakdown at school.
Yeah.
Because I was coming to work early, I was staying late, and it felt like I was never getting anywhere. And it's because it's actually
Whoa,
more
wait. Why were you doing that?
it's hard here. I was like, oh, I got this to do, that to do. But the longer I stayed and the earlier I came to work, the more distracted I was. Because guess what? Somebody popped up in my room. I'm having a conversation. I'm getting distracted by something else. Somebody needs something. So no, I try to leave work at work, and I do that by having a planner. I write my deadlines in my planner. I know on certain days I gotta have certain things done. And that goes back to just having balance and knowing how to separate things. Because if you're taking work home, how can you really enjoy work? Like, how can I really play with my dog and enjoy my dog if I'm sitting up here trying to grade papers and all she's doing is jumping in my lap? That's going to cause me to be frustrated with her. And she doesn't even deserve that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the dogs. But like, also, what about those whispers in the hallway? Yeah, Miss Cross always leaves right when the bell rings. Like,
I sure do. I'm just playing. And I
no,
do.
but like, no, not just to you, but like it happens and teachers talk like that. Why?
They talk like, once again, going back to society has accustomed us to feel like you always have to be productive. And it's just unhealthy to our entire life. Like teachers, there's a high turnover in teachers because of that expectation that you're not supposed to not stay late. You're not supposed to not come early. You're not supposed to overwork. People are getting burnt out and they are leaving this profession like in drastic numbers. And it's very unfortunate that, other teachers don't have the support other teachers are not aware of how negative those comments are.
Yeah, yeah, there's power in words, and that's definitely true. We got to be nicer to each other.
We do, because I mean, we're all we have, because other people, they just don't understand sometimes.
I get you. I get you. The last thing I want to talk about, so we're done with the list. You are working on a little project right now. You're trying to get your national boards. What is that?
National boards is it's like a national certification where teachers go through a process and they complete 4 components. And it really just, in my opinion, it makes you into a more reflective teacher, a more reflective practitioner. And there are certain incentives that come along with it. And even if it's not any incentives, it's just a very distinguished honor that I believe to be bestowed upon, is to prove yourself as a national board teacher. And I hate to say that because sometimes I don't like the labels of things, but the hard work that you put into it is very, very, very much worth it.
Yeah, and I want to get into that. Like, why is it worth it? And I'm saying that because one of my first interviews for this, right, was with my mentor. He did so much in education. He was a master teacher. He started a school. He led robotics competitions to be like world champions. But then he wanted to get his PhD. And I was like, wait, why do you need that? Like, you're doing so much already. So I'm asking you the same question, right? You're probably already a reflective teacher. You're probably already doing a lot. What's the national board's going to prove?
I think because, every state has like their own process for licensure. So if I become national board certified, I guess it kind of proves to me that on a national level, I can compete, or I'm as capable as other teachers. And I know I may very well do that every day in the classroom with the work that I do. So I probably don't need this distinction, but it's just kind of like a norm thing that allowed me to, see how I compare with my peers, how I rank with my peers nationally, as opposed to just the state certification requirements.
Okay. And I guess it's more that formalization where like, yeah, I think I'm a reflective teacher, but nah, this proves
like this proves it. Like these scores and these people who read over my different components and they're checking this, like these assessors, I mean, like they are like legit. So I trust their opinion as a way to, qualify me, I guess, if that makes sense. But even if I don't certify, like I feel like the work that I do every day matters, and that's so important to me. And I've been through this process, like I've been going through this process the past 3 years. So it's something that I had to work with and work through to understand, like it does not define me, but it would be an amazing thing to be able to know that according to these assessors, that I rank among the best of the best as indicated by the National Board of Professional Teacher Standards.
All right, there we go, Miss Cross. I like it. So yeah, just achieve another one of those goals, knocking them out, right?
That's it. And I'm kind of like on the opposite side now about my PhD, because I just received my specialist. I got my master's in 2019, just received my specialist in 2021. And so I was like, I think I need a PhD. And then so recently I'm like, I think I don't need a PhD. Like, I know. It's just kind of, I don't know. But I feel like I need boards. So it's kind of oxymoronic. It's just contradicting my meaning,
Yeah, well, I just say establish your goals and reach for them. If the PhD is in your plan, which I think would be great, then that's where it is. Yeah. All right. Again, thank you, Ms. Cross, for sharing all this, going over these 5 new teacher mistakes, telling us about you getting your national boards coming soon, right?
Coming soon. We'll know in December.
All right, coming soon. But yeah, all these are some of the reasons why I think you might be one of the greatest teachers of all time.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone else for watching The Greatest Teacher of All Time, where I, Quincy Dawson, interview teachers of color to highlight their philosophies, strategies, and personalities.